Hi guys, how are you? How's everyone doing? I'm very happy to be again here with you in another video of Inglés con Teacher Alex, or Learn English with Teacher Alex, your friend Teacher Alex. Let's get it started. Today I'm very excited because we're gonna have the first lesson of the advanced level, which is actually called traveling. More specifically, we're gonna talk about arrivals. Expressions that we might use whenever we get introduced to a person or whenever we get to a place for the first time. Today we're going to meet some characters who are going to have conversations. In the ones, everything that I'm going to show you is going to be included. The topics that we're going to be mentioning, the grammar that we're going to be focusing on, which is absolutely, as I always say it, very simple. Okay, let's get started. In this story we have Brad Jordan, Dolores Cotton, and Ron Eng. They get through the airport and they're going to use different expressions like coming to meet us. For example, Dolores Cotton is going to be thankful to Brad because he went to the airport in order to pick them up. She's gonna say, "Thank you for coming to meet us." She's being grateful because he came to the airport to meet, to join, or to gather, to be together with them. This is an idiomatic expression that I would recommend you to use. Thank you for coming to meet us. Thank you for coming to be with us. Thank you for coming to pick us up. That would be the meaning of it, and it's very useful. I strongly recommend you to use that expression. Another one is, it's a pleasure. Normally we say you're welcome whenever we receive a thankful note, or whenever we get some person is being grateful with us. We say, it's a pleasure. That's another, a little bit more polite way to say, don't worry, it's okay, it's fantastic to be here, or it's a pleasure for me, it's good for me to be here to pick you up, or to do a favor to you, whatever. No, it's a pleasure. Then we have an expression that is quite useful whenever we're working on introductions. When you are introducing one person or a group of people towards another person or group of people. For example, I recommend you to use this expression. I'd like you to meet. I'd like you to meet. I'd like you to meet. There you go. I would. I would like you to meet. Would, let's remember that it's I call it the probable auxiliary, or auxiliary that represents probability, or a conditional auxiliary for future. Within our language in Spanish, it's not directly translated. It's just like the ending to a word in Spanish, in this case to the verb. We use it in English properly in order to talk about a certain condition. For example, like when we say, I would like to, yeah, that's something that I would like to, but I don't know if it is possible. Like, I would like to go to Cancun here in Mexico, for example. Beautiful place, beautiful beaches. But I don't know, probably I will not have the money or the time to go there, but I would like to go. That's a conditional. So we say, I would like, that's something that is my intention. That's when we express that intention, we very politely say, I would like you, or contraction, I'd like you to meet, I'd like you to meet, pronunciation, I'd like you to meet, in this case, Ron Eng. Let's check out the conversation so that you can actually see what is happening around it.
Excuse me, Dolores Cotton?
Yes?
Hi, I'm Brad Jordan from Lemon Computers. How do you do?
How do you do? I'm glad to meet you, Brad. Thank you for coming to meet us.
It's a pleasure. How was the trip?
Fine. Oh, I'd like you to meet Ron Eng. He's our sales manager.
How do you do, Ron?
Fantastic. Now let's go to conversation number 2. In this case, we have Karen and Jody. They meet each other at the airport. They see each other or meet each other at the airport, and it's just a coincidence. They were not expecting to see each other there. They say hello, they're very good friends. Are you here to meet somebody? Says Jody. Are you here to meet somebody? Well, we have Karen and Jody. Karen says, are you here to meet somebody? Are you here to meet somebody? Is she expecting someone? And she said, no, my mom just left in past. She just departed, or she just went away for Miami. And then they go together for a cup of coffee. They use an idiomatic expression that is quite typical whenever you have not seen a person for quite a long time. Let's say, well, it depends on how well or how good your relation is with the other person. Let's suppose that you have not seen a person for a year, a very good friend of yours, but it's been a year or more that you haven't seen that person. Well, you use an expression like this. I haven't seen you for ages. I haven't seen you for ages. That is our expression that we use when we have not seen a person for a long time. Of course, it's not literal. Imagine this being literal. Ages like Mesozoic and Jurassic. No. We're just talking about an idiomatic expression that means I have not seen you for such a long time. Listen to the conversation.
Karen. Hi, Jody. How are you doing?
Great. How are you? I haven't seen you for ages.
I'm all right. Are you here to meet somebody?
No, my mom just left for Miami.
Do you have time for coffee?
Sure, I'd love some.
Fantastic. Now let's go for conversation number 3. What expressions are included in this? First of all, let me show you who the characters will be. We've got Margaret and Carol. As a matter of fact, Carol goes to the airport in order to pick Margaret up at one of the main doors. She's picking her up, and then she uses an expression like, how are you getting along? How are you getting along? That is another expression which is very typical that could replace expressions such as simple as how do you do or how are you? Hi, how are you getting along? How are you? Fine, what about you? How are you getting along? How is your life going? How are you doing? I strongly advise you to use this type of expression. How are you getting along? Quite common. And the pronunciation is again, how are you getting along? How are you getting along? How's everything going in your life? Everything's fine. Then one of them, I think it's Carol, asks Margaret, how are Larry and the kids? Well, she's asking her about her family. Everybody's just fine. Okay, let me take one of your bags. Be careful. She's asking her to be careful because it's heavy. And that's all. Let's go right through it.
Margaret, hi.
Hello, Carol. How are you?
Oh, I'm okay. How are you getting along?
Fine, thanks. How are Larry and the kids?
Everybody's fine. My car's just outside. Let me take one of your bags.
Oh, thanks. Careful, it's heavy.
Fantastic. All right. In the next conversation, we're going to have a woman who's actually asking or requesting for a ticket. She wants to fly to New York. So she's going to say, what time's your next flight to New York? Of course, the person, the desk clerk behind the counter is going to reply, our next flight is at a specific time. And then the woman decides to pay with a credit card, and she uses the expression, put it on my Visa card. Put it on my Visa card. That means that she's going to pay with her credit card. As simple as that. Expression that I recommend to use in this case, put it on my Visa card, please. And that's all. Very good. There are two kinds of tickets that you can use, or two kinds of trips that you can buy whenever you make a reservation. You can get a one-way ticket. In this case, it's only to go, but you're not paying your ticket to come back. It's a one-way trip, or one-way ticket trip, or one-way ticket. And then you have the round-trip ticket or round-trip ticket, which means that you're going to pay for both tickets. The ticket that is gonna let you go towards your final destination, and at the same time you're gonna be getting your ticket to come back to your original departure point. As simple as that. Most of the times, people who are going to travel, come and go, or who's actually gonna travel and then come back later, they'd rather buy the round-trip ticket because at the end of it all, it ends up being more, less expensive or cheaper. It's not as expensive as the one. They apply some sort of a discount most of the times whenever you buy a round-trip ticket. And in some other times it is more convenient because you can actually get a better seat, and you can actually make sure that your trip's gonna be available by the time you're required to actually come back. Otherwise, you might as well get a little bit of a complication if that is I don't know, like a crowded trip. Probably you're gonna have to be moving on your departing time or your comeback time. It is not that easy. So that's why it is more convenient to buy round trip tickets whenever you're going and coming back on a specific day that you already know when that is gonna happen. Let's listen to this conversation. It's quite interesting.
Hi, what time is your next flight to New York?
2:45. Flight 604 to LaGuardia Airport. There's space available.
What's the one-way fare?
It's $228.70 with tax.
Okay, there you go. Put it on my Visa card, please.
All right, just a second.
Fantastic. Okay, guys, let's go towards the last conversation. This is between two unknown people. The names are not gonna be mentioned. One of them got confused by the time they were walking down the hall by the airport. They're walking on opposite directions, and they look at each other, and one of them says, "Hey, how are you? What are you doing? What's up with you? How have you been doing?" I mean, he greets him, and the other guy is like, "What?" He looks confused. Yes, it's me, Rick Balestrina. Aren't you Jose Cortez? Oh, he got confused. Hasn't it ever happened to you that you're walking and all of a sudden you look at someone, he or she seems to be like someone you know, and all of a sudden when you approach to those people and you talk to them, it's already too late. They were not people who you really knew. You just committed a mistake. Sorry, I thought you were someone else. Actually, this expression might be used whenever you get that sort of confusion. I thought you were someone else. I confused. I thought, I believed that you were somebody else, not the person that I know. That's all right, no problem. There's no problem about this. Let's go straight through the conversation.
Well, hi there.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Oh, fine. Excuse me. Do I know you from somewhere?
Sure, it's me, Rick Balestrina.
I'm sorry. I don't think I know you.
Aren't you Jose Cortez?
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh, excuse me. I thought you were someone else. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Fantastic. Pretty cool. Let's do this. I have some exercises for you which are going to be very practical and convenient for you in order to increase our listening skill. Let's listen to each one of these announcements at the airport, and then we're going to fill them out. I'd like you to do them at first. I'm just going to present the announcements, you know, the typical announcement when you're actually waiting for your flight and all of a sudden the local sound starts transmitting or showing off your flight. You're actually, you don't want to miss anything. You're paying attention to the announcements because they are actually indicating you the flight number, obviously the airline, which is actually giving you the service, the departing time or the departure time at the one you're actually going to be departing, and the gate number. It's also going to be mentioned in there. How good are you in order to listen to this and understand it? Let's check this out. I'm going to be presenting one by one. The first is going to be an example already done, and the other ones are going to be, I'm going to be giving a, like, what could be good, like 10 seconds in each one of those, and right after the answers are going to appear in here. Something that I strongly advise you to do is also to go towards the practice by repeating each one of the presentations. It's good to practice. Imagine that you wanted to be hired at an airport in order to give these sort of announcements. How would you do it? I don't know. American Airlines announces the departures of flight number 724 with destination to Los Angeles, California, departing at 4:25. We announce that, or we require all of the passengers to please go or proceed directly through gate number 5. Things like those. We can practice structures like that in order to get ourselves a little bit more, fluent by the time we give a presentation like this. Okay, let's go for announcement number 1. There you go.
Air Streamline Flight 604, departing at 2:45 for JFK Airport in New York City, is now boarding at Gate 3. Passengers with tickets on Air Streamline Flight 604 at 2:45 to New York, please proceed to Gate 3.
Very good. So this is the chart that we've got. Let's go for announcement number 2.
This is the last call for Global Airlines Flight 373 departing at 2:30 for Houston. Passengers on Global Flight 373 at 2:30 to Houston should board now at Gate 1.
Fantastic. Did you get it right? These are the answers. At the end, I'm going to try to read each one of them, trying to present them as if I were the announcer, okay? Now let's go through listening number 3.
Crossland Airlines announces that Flight 127 to Houston and El Paso is now scheduled to depart at 3 o'clock from Gate 7. Passengers on Crossland 127 are advised that their flight will depart from Gate 7 at 3 o'clock.
Great. Number 4.
Global Airlines announces that Flight 881 to New York City's LaGuardia Airport at 2:55 will depart from Gate 2 and will start boarding in 10 minutes. At this time, will passengers with small children and those who need special help in boarding please go to Gate 2 for Global Flight 881 to New York LaGuardia at 2:55.
Did you get everything right? These are the results. Let's go to number 5, finally.
Air Streamline Flight 403 to Atlanta, with connections to Miami and other points south, will depart on schedule at 3:05 from Gate 4. We repeat, Air Streamline 403 will depart as scheduled at 3:05 for Atlanta. Passengers should make their seat selection at Gate 4 prior to boarding, which will begin in 5 minutes.
Great. Now I'm going to try to present just a couple of them in order not to take much of your time, but I'm going to announce them, and that's exactly the kind of recommendation that I'm asking you to go through, to follow it just like in the way that I'm trying to say it, in order to get a little bit more practice. I'm not saying that we're actually doing it because we've got any sort of intention to work as announcers at an airport. Maybe we do. But for most of us who are just looking forward to improve our speech, this is an exercise that I recommend you to do. Let's go for each one of them. Number 1.
Your attention, passengers of flight TY2053 with destination to Stockholm, flying at 11:25. Please proceed to gate 56 since this is the last call to board your flight. We repeat, passengers of flight TY2053 with destination to Stockholm, flying at 11:25, Please proceed to gate 56 since your flight is ready for boarding. Please, all of the passengers with destination to Liverpool departing at 3:45 p.m. with Ryanair flight FR6674, please proceed to gate 1 since the plane is ready for boarding. Once again, all the passengers heading on flight FR6674 of Ryanair departing at 3:45 to Liverpool, please proceed to boarding at gate number 1 since your flight is almost ready to depart.